Okay, so just multiplying and dividing surds. So your basic rule is root A times root B is just root AB. So like root 3 times root 2 would be 3 times 2, which would be root 6. Now if I have 5 root 5 times 3 root 2, what would that be? Now, can you see that the order of multiplication doesn't really matter? And because these are all times, see this 5 times that 3, you could do it in a different order. Root 5 times root 2. But basically you just times the numbers and then you times the surds. So it's 15 times root 5 times root 2 is root 10. So as a rule, if you had A root B times C root D, then you go A times C, and then you go times B times D. So you basically times the numbers and then you times the surds. Now, if I have 3 root 5 times 2 root 10, let's look at that. 2 3s are 6, 5 10s are 50, but then sometimes you might have to simplify the surd that remains. So root 50, let's divide it by 2, get 25. So that means we have 6 times root 25 times root 2, which is 6 times 5 root 2, which is 30 root 2. Another thing just to look at is when you have a square. So let's just say you square a surd, alright? That's root 3 times root 3, which is root 9, which ends up giving you 3. If I have 5 root 2 all squared, that would be 5 root 2 times 5 root 2, which is 25 root 4, which is 25 times 2, which is 50. So you might notice that if you square a square root, they are opposites. So they cancel each other and you get root 3. And the same as this one, you square the 5, you get 25. Square the root 2, you get 2. 25 times 2 is 50. So as a rule, root A all squared will just equal A, because it's like having root A squared, which is A. Okay, so just continuing on that, so we have 4 root 5 and we squared that. You could do it as the long way, 4 root 5 times 4 root 5, which is 16 root 25. 16 times 5, which is 80, or you could just go 4 root 5 all squared. 16 times 5, which is 80. Okay, so just with division, it's very similar to like if you did algebra, so you had 12a squared divided by 3a. See, it's 12a squared on 3a. Number divided by number is 12 divided by 3 is 4. A squared divided by a is a. So 16 root 10, let's say, divided by 4 root 2. You would just do number divided by number. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And surd divided by surd. 10 divided by root 10 divided by root 2 is like root 5, because 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, so if you've got 16 root 8 divided by 2 root 2, then you would have 16 divided by 2 is 8. Root 8 divided by root 4. Root 2 is root 4. But root 4 is 2, so 8 times 2 is 16. Let's say 24 root 30 divided by 12 root 5. 24 divided by 12 is 2. And root 30 divided by root 5 is root 6. Okay, just some, like a bigger question. So we did this times root 2 times 3 root 6 over 12 root 20 divided by 6 root 5. Okay, so looking at this here then, we have, that'll be 4 times 3 times root 2 times root 6 is root 12, and then you've got this 3 here, so that's that 3, and then that'll be root 12. over 12 divided by 6 is 2. Root 20 divided by root 5 is root 4. Okay, so that's 12 times 3 times. Now root 12 is root 4 times root 3. And on the bottom we have root 4, which is 2. 3 12s are 36 times 2 times root 3. 2 2s are 4. Now that'll be 72 root 3 on 4. And 4 goes into 7 once, remainder 3. 4 into 32 is 8. So it will be 18 root 3.